second, and then we will be at the slide. This is new technology for me, so I've done this a few times, so hopefully everything's going to be coming through well for you and you'll be able to see the presentation. Let me just get to the right place. Okay, hopefully you're able to see the cover slide, and I'll go ahead and put in present mode. All right, identity theft. Be proactive and protect your legal identity. Okay, identity theft is a crime in which someone impersonates another person's identity using their personal data for economic gain. And it takes many different forms, and we'll go ahead and look at that in just a moment. A victim's losses include out-of-pocket financial losses, lost time from work trying to correct erroneous information, and to restore his reputation, which the criminal has stolen with no regard whatsoever to the victim. Okay, and hopefully by the end of this workshop, you will have increased your identity theft IQ. But first, let's see what your IQ is. We're going to have a little bit of a test here, a little quiz. So we're going to find out how much you know about identity theft protection or identity theft. Okay, true or false? My 5-year-old child just got a call regarding an overdue credit card account. It must be a computer error, so I told the caller this was not my child's account. That should take care of the situation. True or false? It's false. A call about an overdue account may be a sign that someone has opened accounts using your child's social security number. Parents and guardians don't expect a minor child to have a credit file and rarely review their child's credit report. The thief may steal and use a child's information to get a job, to get government benefits, to get medical care, utilities, car loans, cell phones, a mortgage, a rental place, and much more. A thief may use a child's information for up to 18 years before the crime is even discovered. The victim may learn about the theft years later when applying for a job, loan, apartment, going to college, or when a business reviews the credit file and finds fraudulent accounts. This is one of the fastest growing areas of identity theft. And it's a good thing for parents to know this and to check the credit report, even though a child will not apply for credit for many years. Okay, how much do you know about, okay, I don't need to read that. Okay, true or false? I check my financial accounts and bill statements when they come, which helps reduce my risk of identity theft. That is true. Missing or late statements can be a sign of identity theft, but it's important to read your explanation of medical benefits, which can alert you to medical identity theft. If an identity thief gets medical treatment using your name, the thief's medical information, for example, blood type, test results, allergies, or records of illnesses can get into your medical file. Information about the thief can be added to your medical health insurance and payment records, and the thief might deplete your health insurance benefits. So as you can see by this description, if the thief gets their blood type changed for your medical records and you have some sort of a medical emergency, that could actually be life-threatening if the blood type is different. Okay, true or false? I got a notice from the IRS out of the blue and called the number on the notice to get the details. True. If the IRS sends you a notice indicating a problem, or if you think someone has misused your social security number to get a job or a tax refund, contact your ID Theft Protection Service for the best advice on what to do next. Contact the IRS's Specialized Identity Theft Protection Unit at 800-908-4490 immediately. Specialists will work with you to protect your account. Okay, true or false? I'm getting bills for accounts I never opened. I should compile all the bills and monitor them to see if any charges appear on my existing accounts. False. As soon as you suspect identity theft, contact your Identity Theft Protection Service for the best advice on what to do next. They may advise putting a fraud alert on your credit reports. Order copies of all your reports and review them carefully for charges or accounts that are not yours. And then file a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission. It's called an FTC affidavit. Also get a police report so you can create an identity theft report. So if you look here at the graphic below, it says identity theft affidavit plus your police report is what is equivalent to an identity theft report. Okay, so that's what you do, true or false. An identity theft report can help me fix some problems caused by identity theft. That's true. An identity theft report helps you deal with credit reporting companies, debt collectors, and businesses that open accounts in your name. You can use the report to get fraudulent information removed from your credit report, to stop a company from collecting debts that result from identity theft, or from selling the debt to another company for collection, and to place an extended fraud alert on your credit report, to get information from companies about accounts the identity theft opened or misused. Okay, and again, true or false. I reviewed my credit report when I bought a house about a year ago. Everything checked out well, so I'm not at risk for identity theft. That's false. You need to check your credit reports regularly, as they can signal identity fraud. Be sure to check your credit report a few times a year. You have the right to request a free copy of your credit report every 12 months from all 3 nationwide credit reporting companies. And what we recommend is that every 3 months you get one, or every 4 months you get one from one credit reporting company, and then 4 months later from the next, and then the last 4 months get it from the third. That would be Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. Okay, and this is what this next line says. And then you can get your free credit report at annualcreditreport.com or by calling 1-877-322-8228. Get in the habit of reviewing your account statements and also your explanation of benefits from your health plan. Your Identity Theft Protection Service company may offer your credit score tracking on a regular basis with alerts and notifications. Okay, now we're going to take a look at stats of a notorious identity theft case. The criminal incurred $100,000 of credit card debt using the victim's identity, obtained a federal home loan in the victim's name, bought homes, guns, and motorcycles in the victim's name, taunted his victim with phone calls since it wasn't a crime at that time, filed for bankruptcy using the victim's name, and it took over 4 years and more than $15,000 for the victim to restore their credit and reputation. The criminal never paid restitution and served just a short sentence for making a false statement to procure firearms. Just horrible. And then here is an unknown thief. Interestingly, he steals somebody else's identity, but this thief is unknown. When Florida Highway Patrol Trooper Richard Blanco, who was a member of the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force, he interviewed an individual suspected of driver's license fraud in 2011. He wasn't sure if the man was the victim or the perpetrator of identity theft. And that's because this man, now imprisoned and officially known as John Doe, had a stack of government-issued identification acquired during the 22 years that he'd been using a living victim's identity. This included passport, driver's license, birth certificate, social security card, and identification, allowing him unescorted access to a port and military installation. Is that frightening or what? And does that also tell you that identity theft is not simply your credit cards. Again, some staggering statistics. The IRS paid out over $5.8 billion in fraudulent tax refunds in 2013. The average time to repair stolen identity is estimated to be 150 hours. Identity theft can cost a person an average of $1,800, and 22% had their social security number used by an ID thief. 63% could not clear up their credit report, and identity theft tops the FTC consumer complaints for 15 years in a row. And the number of complaints to the Federal Trade Commission of IRS fraud is up 2,300% in just 1 year alone. Over 623 million Americans' identities were either lost or stolen from 2005 to 2013. Of course, that number's gone up, and I just don't have the data yet on the new number. Over 400,000 dead people opened bank accounts in 2013 alone. Obviously, these were thieves. Over 3.5 million children have become victims of identity theft, and there are now over 19,000 new victims every single day. And you're 3 times more likely to have your identity stolen than to have your car or home vandalized. Now we're going to talk about the different kinds of identity theft. You can see here in this list: financial, medical, children's identity theft, character or criminal identity theft, social security or employment identity theft, tax fraud, government documents, insurance fraud, driver's license fraud. So see, it's not just financial. As a matter of fact, financial comprises 20% of all identity theft, and all these other areas comprise the rest. So next, we're going to take a look at a story about medical identity theft. Signs you're a victim, you can see here, you get a bill that you didn't owe. And here's a mother's story. Oops, excuse me. Let me just find that slide again. Don't know what happened there.
I was absolutely floored. You just would never imagine in a million years that something could happen like this.
Several months ago, Anne-Marie Sachs got an alarming phone call. Her newborn baby had just tested positive for illegal drugs. Problem is, Anne-Marie hasn't given birth in years.
As much as I denied it, they just kept insisting that, yes, I was the mother of this child. There was nothing that I could say to get out of it.
To make matters worse, authorities showed up at her door the next day, calling her an unfit mother and threatening to take away all 4 of her kids.
When you know you're innocent and you didn't do anything wrong, it just absolutely, I was in tears. I was a wreck.
Turns out, Anne-Marie was the victim of medical ID theft. Someone had stolen her driver's license, walked into a hospital, and had a baby, leaving Anne-Marie with a $10,000 bill and a fight to clear her name.
Do you think it's a big problem?
It's a huge problem.
Chris Dorn is a fraud expert with Ingenix, a company that tracks medical ID theft cases. He says victims have more worries than just fraudulent doctor bills. Your medical records can also be altered, with the crook's information substituted for your own.
Inadvertently, your blood type can be changed, your medications that you're on that can be changed, your underlying medical conditions can be changed.
Which can be life-threatening.
Certainly.
That's a scary thought.
It is.
To crack down on the problem, some hospitals like this one outside Hartford, Connecticut, are now asking patients for proof of identification.
Could I get driver's license or photo ID and your insurance card?
Administrators say the policy went into effect after a rash of medical ID thefts, and it's working.
About 2 to 3 times a week, we have patients that come in, and when we ask them for the ID, they'll say it's in the car, go out to their car and don't return.
Come here.
Anne-Marie Sachs says her fraud case wreaked havoc on her life. She had to take a DNA test to prove she wasn't the mother of the drug-addicted baby, and she fears the long-term damage that may have been done to her medical records.
Am I going to have some emergency someday in my life, and I'm going to show up at the hospital, and they're going to give me the wrong blood type because they still have her blood type in my files? I just don't feel safe anymore.
So these are real serious issues. Medical identity theft. There's at least 500 million, that's 500 million victims and growing every single year. Okay, and the next type of identity theft we're going to look at is called character or criminal identity theft.
Hi, my name is Bo Carl. I'm going to share my identity theft story with you. There were 300 people that had ended up with my identity. It got sold through a flea market from the kid that actually broke into my car. My identity had been stolen. I discovered it on December 21st, 2006, while coming home from a business meeting. During that process, I was pulled over by someone I actually knew, a local cop at our church, and he said, I'm going to let you go, but let me run your license and I'll be back. And just a real routine, had a tail light out on the car and nothing big, and he's going to let me fix it. When the officer asked me told me that I had 47 felonies and 82 misdemeanors, I basically asked him, I said, can you allow me one thing? Can you give me one phone call? And he's like, this late at night? If you can get somebody this late at night, I'll pull my chief out of bed and he'll come up here. So I pick up the phone, call and speak to my law firm in the state of Texas. He then proceeds at the same time to call the other law firms from New Mexico, Arizona, California, Oregon, and Washington State. Got them on the phone. They didn't have a problem helping me with my issue. By that happened, the chief shows up and he's like, wait a minute, you're on the phone with 6 attorneys and it's dark. It's 10:30 here. It's got to be at least 8:30 there on the West Coast. I was like, yeah, it's that late, and they're on the phone trying to help me and trying to prove to you guys not to lock me up. So I was allowed to go to the office on Tuesday. We worked on everything through Christmas. On Tuesday, went into the precinct or whatever, and the chief was there, and he's like, wow, your attorneys work fast. And I was like, I told you it wasn't me, and for once, it really wasn't me. And the attorneys, went to bat for me. Within 2 weeks, they'd fully restored my identity. The peace of mind that the attorneys helped me through Legal Shield was that they were able to establish a number direct to the state district attorney to help me in the future if something were to arise from being a victim of identity theft. I couldn't imagine what I would have done without them. It was just a process. I can't explain it in words. It's all through life you're always you're accused of things. You're now found you're proven guilty before you even get a chance to go to trial. Well, that's how identity theft works. You're guilty and you have to prove yourself innocent. I was completely helpless, but I knew back in my mind that Legal Shield was always there. The value that the chief of police saw from the service. He saw exactly how the attorneys handled themselves in his office, and he said, is this available? Can my officers get this? You can offer this as a benefit to your employees, and it resulted in the entire department getting our service. My wife, through this whole process, she was nervous for a while, but then when she realized what they did and how much they worked for me and how fast they were able to do everything. It was just, it made her a complete believer in what the service is going to do and what it can do and what is possible. And now knowing, our identity is protected, not only in just my driver's license, but the other areas as well. So.
And that's criminal identity theft. And the question is, who would you call if this happened to you and you found that there were 47 felonies on your record? Estimates are this case would have cost Bo $2.2 million because his identity was stolen in 5 different states on the West Coast. So, and they go into national databases as well as city, county, state, and FBI. A lot of databases, which makes identity theft, criminal identity theft, very, very difficult to clear. Okay, and then children's identity theft. We already touched a little bit about that, but here are some stats. The FTC has reported 140,000 to 400,000 children have their identities stolen every single year. According to a recent study, the Carnegie Mellon SciLab report, children are 51 times more likely to be victims of identity theft than adults. And that's because a thief can hang on to their data for many years without being discovered. And according to this study, the largest fraud committed against a child was $750,000 using a 16-year-old girl's identity, and the youngest victim was 5 months old. And then here is Olivia's story.
Imagine a 5th grader who is already bankrupt, or a 16-year-old in debt for houses and cars. Thieves have a new target, and we learned tonight that 1 in 10 American children is the victim of identity theft. 1 in 10. And as ABC's Pierre Thomas tells us, it can be years before parents realize it.
Olivia McNamara was starting her freshman year at Vanderbilt University, and like so many 18-year-olds, applying for her first credit card. That's when the nightmare started. Olivia's credit applications were rejected twice. Someone had stolen her identity when she was 9 years old. They had years to run up $1.5 million in debt.
I can't even describe it. It's just really shocking, and we just had no idea.
The thieves created more than 42 accounts, defaulting on all of them.
They took loans out on boats and houses and everything.
Olivia is still working to clear her credit. It may take her months, if not years, to start fresh. A new report estimates that a staggering 1 in 10 American children are victims with no clue it's happening. Criminals hack home computers looking for tax forms with the social security numbers of children. They've also stolen identities from hospitals, child welfare agencies, even schools.
We see children who have had this crime begin at as early as age, 5 months old, and then it goes on for years.
Thieves stole 11-year-old Brianna's social security number and ran up more than $132,000 in debt, buying a car and a house. Using 8-year-old Bradley's ID, crooks took out 2 student loans and got 5 credit cards. Total damage, $19,200.
The problem is large and growing. And part of the problem is it's generally undetected and undetectable.
Undetected because thieves use false names and addresses repeatedly, simply opening new accounts after they default. So what can parents do to protect their children? The most important thing, tell your children never to give out their social security number without your permission, and make sure you check your child's credit periodically, no matter how young.
I'm just happy that we caught it when I was 18 and not when I'm 22 and trying to get my own apartment.
Pierre Thomas, ABC News, Washington.
Okay, so that's child's identity theft. And one of the other very common victims are children in the foster care system. They are very, very high victims of children's identity theft. Okay, warning signs. How do you know if your identity was stolen? You discover mistakes on your accounts or on your explanation of medical benefits. Bills that don't belong to you start arriving in the mail. Your regular bills are no longer being delivered to you. You get calls from debt collectors for debts that are not yours. You receive a notice from the IRS. You get mail or calls for accounts in your minor child's name. It's always a red flag if you get calls in your minor children's name. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Let me just a sec. Okay, how does it happen? All right. Well, identity thieves can go through your trash or do dumpster diving, as you can see in this picture here on the right. They can steal your wallet or purse, or if you just leave your wallet or purse left behind at a restaurant, that puts you at risk, definitely, if it falls in the hands of the wrong person. Identity thieves steal your mail or submit a change of address form for you. And that's what they'll do. They'll just go and grab some bills and get all your information, and you won't get those bills. So if you don't get certain bills that come on a regular basis, that could be a red flag. Also, they use phishing or fake emails to get you to provide personal information. Right now, actually, I just made a copy of an IRS phishing email, and it looks official. It's got the IRS information, their logo, and it seems so official. But if you click to confirm your information, you've actually sent your information to ID thieves. Okay, they hack your computer or your mobile device. And there are multiple local scams like hurricane relief, Hurricane Katrina. There were a lot of charities set up to receive funds to donate, and they were actually going to some scammers and identity thieves. Okay, so let's take a look at your responsibility. Read your bank credit and account statements and your explanation of medical benefits, and look for charges that you did not make. Be alert for bills that don't arrive when you expect them. Follow up if you get account statements that you don't expect, and then respond quickly to notices from the IRS. If someone has used your Social Security number on a tax return, contact the IRS's Specialized Identity Theft Protection Unit. And here's the phone number: 1-800-908-4490. Okay, and steps to protect yourself. Shred financial documents or sensitive documents before you discard them. Don't give out personal information unless you initiated the call or the contact. So if somebody's calling your phone number and then asking you for information, always say, "Can I please get your phone number and call you back?" And oftentimes, if they're not legitimate, you won't get the phone number, but never give your information out unless you initiate the call. Also, monitor your accounts for transactions that you made. If you conduct business online, use your own computer. Never respond to emails asking you to verify any type of personal information. Okay, and then protect your Social Security number. Especially our children, it's very important to teach our children about this because they don't really have the same reference points and frame of mind that my generation did, at least. They very easily just give information, but for us, we learned that we shouldn't even carry our Social Security number in our wallet. So if somebody asks you for it, even if you go to the doctor's office, sometimes that is where they will ask you for that. And you need to just ask them, why do you need it? How are you going to use it? How do you plan to protect my Social Security number in your files? Do you need the full number? Maybe you can only give them the last 4 digits of your social, but more times than not, you're going to have a medical card, and that's the number that they're going to need to access your medical benefits, not your Social Security number. So it's all right to say, no, I prefer not to give that to you, and that's what I do. Okay, protect your computer. Use antivirus software, anti-spyware software, and a firewall. Keep your computer's operating system, your browser, and security up to date. Encrypt your data and lock up your laptop. Review the privacy policies and use wireless security at home. Okay, and then to protect your good name, don't use your cell phone or your personal device to store your personal information. Keep your computer browsing software up to date. Never use email to communicate sensitive information. And check your credit report, as we talked about earlier, on a regular basis. And be careful when you're at the public library or at a public, coffee shop and using the Wi-Fi. Don't get into private online sites like your bank account, doing anything like that, or doing transactions using Wi-Fi that's not secure. And don't use obvious passwords. A lot of times a person will, take their child's name or their animal's name and a birthday. It's a very common combo, and thieves know that, and sometimes they're able to find those passwords by just looking at your information and then just, you know, making those guesses. Sometimes people will just use the word password. That's another really easy, common password. So make it real challenging. Okay, and then identity theft solutions, we're going to take a look at each of these different types of solutions. One is a resolution, one is reimbursement, and one is restoration. So the first one, the resolution type service, it's good. It offers help to restore your identity. It gives access to identity theft counselors to assist you in restoring your identity. Okay, they will give consultation on who to contact, how to fill out the forms, and where to obtain the forms to fill out to begin the restoration process. Okay, and oftentimes an identity theft with resolution services is offered by a company as a free value-added service to an insurance plan or an EAP, which is an employee assistance program. Okay, so it's kind of baked into their insurance package and benefit. Okay, but it's usually resolution. So this is kind of like sending you the kit, the do-it-yourself kit, and you restore the identity. This will take, you know, up to 200 hours, potentially on average, and can take you up to $2,000. Okay, depending on the type of identity theft that occurred. Okay, the next type is reimbursement. Now this is better than resolution. Okay, it gives access to identity theft counselors to assist you in restoring your identity. The plan often comes with credit monitoring, which is helpful. We'll give consultation on who to contact, how to fill out the forms, and where to obtain the forms to fill out to begin this restoration process. And they will reimburse you up to a certain amount for money spent in the restoration process, but it does not reimburse the losses that occurred due to identity theft. It only reimburses the money that you spent in the restoration process up to the category limitations listed in the reimbursement plan. Okay, so you've got to be aware of the fine detail in these type of plans. Okay, an underwriter will determine what expenses in the restoration process will be reimbursed. So you can't even really know that because that's going to be up to the underwriter. So it's kind of hard to know exactly what you're going to get in reimbursements. And the cost can cost somewhere between $8 to $10 per person for these kind of plans. Okay. And then the last type of a plan is a restoration type of plan. And this is the best kind of plan. This gives access to identity theft counselors to answer questions about identity theft. Usually comes with daily credit monitoring. And in the event of identity theft, the company will give you the option for complete restoration covered by the plan instead of being reimbursed. And depending on the company, you may be outsourced to an unknown third party for this restoration, or you may have access to a dedicated risk management expert for these services, but you've got to check with your plan provider for the details. And these full restoration plans can range from $10 to $15 per person. Okay, so these are restoration plans. So you do very little of this. The plan itself does the restoration. Okay, and for a complimentary risk assessment, go ahead and click the button below if you're on the Facebook page, and you can click Contact Me. And next, what we're going to do from here, if you're interested in taking a look at solutions, we're going to now go into a restoration type of solution that's provided by Kroll. And you can see in the lower left-hand corner, that's the corporate office in New York City of the company Kroll. And they're an established company with unique service, and they've been established since 1972. They operate in 33 countries and 65 cities. They protect 1 million lives, plus the children of the members. They've done over 200,000 credit and personal consults, and they've got 2,000 licensed investigators around the globe, and a Fortune 500 clientele, and they are the global leader in identity theft services. And as we talked about, identity theft claims 18 million victims a year in the United States. Now, Last year alone, as far as what experts are saying, there were over 1 billion records, data records stolen. Okay, and sometimes the thieves will hang on to those and then they will start using the identities and the data that they have. And 18 million victims a year. And we know in 2013, the target breach, that was 100 million people. Okay, so taking a look at identity theft fraud, we know that it's been the #1 complaint for 15 years filed with the FTC. Okay, and now we're going to take a look at all the categories. And I know we looked at this earlier, but again, credit, financial, social security, driver's license, medical insurance, criminal character, tax return, and children's identity. And the last area, synthetic, is just where they take bits and pieces of a person's identity and construct an all-new identity. It's very hard to remedy and find because it's constructed. Okay, so this particular protection, they monitor what matters, your privacy, which includes your social, your date of birth, your DMV records, your passport, your address, your email, your web persona, and much more. And of course, your security, which includes your bank accounts, your credit card, your loans, and more. So ID Shield, again, they provide around-the-clock protection, Web Watcher, persona, the public persona, and any changes to your social security number or your address. They offer lost wallet assistance, and they also check 34 billion public records to see if your social security number shows up. And they also look at the registered sex offender search to make sure that your address is not used by a registered sex offender. Okay, and then again, they provide 24/7, 365 emergency access. So if you have a situation like earlier we saw this cop that pulled over Bo, and it was at 8:30 at night in Texas, you will have a 24/7 emergency access in those situations. And that's great peace of mind to know that. And they do an unlimited identity theft and personal consultations. They give you a credit report and your credit score with a detailed analysis, and they monitor by all 3 credit bureaus. And they also provide a free mobile app, and this is what the app looks like in the App Store. Okay, that icon right there. Okay, and this is Patrick. He's actually a Kroll licensed investigator. The best part of this is they restore your identity for you by their team of licensed private investigators, the best in the industry, excuse me. And Kroll is the gold standard. No one does it like Kroll. As a matter of fact, they're hired by governments around the world, including the United States Homeland Security. Okay, they will do whatever it takes for as long as it takes to clear your records for life. And to date, they've restored over 10,000 members' identities. And they are backed by a $5 million service guarantee. Now, to take a look at the coverage and rates, the individual plan, that just means that you have no dependents and you're unmarried. That is only 33 cents a day or $9.95 a month for complete protection and restoration services. Now, for the family plan, it's as if you're paying for 2 members, but that also includes the member, of course, the member's spouse, and up to 8 minor children. Only $19.95 a month. Okay, and interestingly enough, the other plans, other competitors, they have, instead of offering a flat family plan rate, usually what they'll do is they'll charge a fee per family member. So for comparable plan, which does not include restoration, doesn't cover nearly what this plan covers, will cost you about $50 to $60 for a family plan versus the $19.95 price point. Now, did you know that 70% of identity theft fraud is a legal event? And you will need an attorney in addition to the private investigators, which is why in 2002, Kroll contacted Legal Shield, which is the largest legal company in the nation, about partnering to provide a solution for consumer identity theft fraud. So together we've got, that number actually has just increased, about 8,500 attorneys now and about 3,000 licensed investigators to resolve our members' legal and identity theft issues. Okay, so we're going to take a look, in addition to the attorneys that will be needed for identity theft fraud, we're going to take a look at some of the other services that come with this service. It's just all bundled together. So who is Legal Shield? And you can see in the lower left-hand frame, you've got Legal Shield's corporate office in Oklahoma. They're an established company since 1972. They do about $450 million a year in revenue and growing. They provide coverage in the United States and Canada. They protect 3.5 million lives. As a matter of fact, that's almost 4 million lives now. And they provide 40,000 employees this membership as an employee benefit, and about 50,000 small business owners are protected with our plans. And we have a network of quality law firms and a closed panel system versus, say, a referral system. So you're not going to get a yellow page list of attorneys to call. Legal Shield's already done the work and completely checked out all the attorneys. They have an average of 15 to 18 years experience, and there are 8,500 quality attorneys in the network. Okay, and this is what others are saying about Legal Shield, and you can see we've got good ratings with the Better Business Bureau, Yelp, and Consumer Affairs. And each year, our members make about 2 million calls to the law firms. Okay, and the service, it will include unlimited personal legal advice on unlimited number of issues, 24/7 emergency access for covered situations, and that would include if the member had a traffic accident and needed to call the law firm, if they were detained or questioned or arrested, they could have access to the law firm. And, you know, if they fear loss of custody of their children, that's a perfect situation to call the emergency line. And the attorneys will also make letters or phone calls on your behalf. They'll review contracts and documents up to 15 pages. They will also prepare your will, your living will, and your medical power of attorney. That's all included in this service. And there's a number of traffic-related issues, criminal and traffic-related, that are included in the service. IRS audit assistance up to 15 hours if you receive that dreadful notice from the IRS. And also civil trial defense for covered situations. And this is an area of coverage that actually increases each year. Upon enrolling, you'll immediately have 60 hours of attorney representation in court. And each year that goes up by 60 hours until the 5th year, where it levels off at 300 hours of attorney representation. That includes 5 pretrial hours by the 5th year. Okay, and then there's also family legal services that start 90 days upon enrolling, and that includes uncontested adoption, annulment, divorce, name change, and real estate services. Okay, and then our members also qualify for a 25% discounted rate with an attorney for anything that's not covered inside this membership. That includes pre-existing issues. If you're the plaintiff, the moving party in a lawsuit, or if you've surpassed your trial hours for civil lawsuits in which you're a defendant, or for situations where you want to file bankruptcy or a family or put together a family trust. So who's covered? This is a family plan. It covers the member's spouse, your never married dependent children under the age of 26 that are living at home, or a full-time college student. Excuse me. Don't know why this is happening. Okay, and then dependent children under the age of 18 for whom the member is a legal guardian. And if you have any physically or mentally challenged dependent children living at home, they're covered for life as long as they're dependent on you. And let's go next slide. Okay, so this plan is the Legal Shield plan. If you're an individual, no dependents, and not married, it's $17.95 a month. And we've already gone over the rate for the ID Shield. That's $9.95 for individuals. And then families are $19.95 a month for Legal Shield, as well as the same price for ID Shield. Okay, and that's 65 cents a day right there. And another 65 cents a day, that's basically what it's going to cost for this value. And hopefully you see the value in the service. And again, here is the combined rate, $27.90 a month for individuals to have complete peace of mind and protection for the legal service and ID Shield. And then the family rate is $39.90 a month. And when is the best time? I like to say, when is the best time to protect your family? Well, I would say the best time to protect your family is before you need it. Before you need it, and to get the protection in place. If you're interested in enrolling, or if you have any questions or comments, feel free to click the buttons below if you're viewing this on the Facebook page. If you want a complimentary consultation, just click the Contact Me button. I can answer any questions. And if you are interested in protecting your family, you can just click the button below that says Enroll Now. And I want to thank you so much for taking the time to view this very important information. And on behalf of Protect Your ID Week, which is this week, to increase the awareness of this devastating situation, identity theft, and what it's doing to families, I want to say thank you for participating. Have a great evening, and we'll talk to you soon. Or check in with me down below and set up your consult. And I would look forward to talking with you further. Goodbye for now.